Do we honor the Lord in the way we treat our neighbor? Blessed Saturday, brothers and sisters. This is our reflection question for today.
Holy Spirit, make my heart open to the Word of God. Make my heart open to goodness. Make my heart open to the beauty of God every day. Amen.
Today is the feast day of Saint Peter Claver, a Jesuit missionary known as the patron saint of slaves, African missions, and interracial justice. Saint Claver spent his life serving enslaved Africans who were brought to Colombia during the 17th century. Born on June 26, 1580, in Catalonia, Spain, Saint Claver studied at the University of Barcelona and joined the Jesuits at age 20 in 1602. While studying philosophy at Mallorca in 1605, Saint Claver developed a friendship with Jesuit brother Alfonso Rodriguez. Brother Rodriguez, who spent his days doing menial work as a doorkeeper, encouraged Saint Claver to become a missionary in the Spanish colonies. In 1610, Saint Peter Claver voyaged from Spain to Cartagena, Colombia, where after 5 years of further study, he was ordained a priest. Despite Pope Paul III's repeated condemnations of slavery during the previous century, European colonists continued capturing and enslaving Africans to work on plantations and in mines. Saint Claver threw himself into his ministry, bringing aid to enslaved persons, despite his own health problems and the language barrier between himself and the population he served. With the help of multilingual catechists, Saint Claver boarded every slave ship that entered the harbor. "We must speak to them with our hands," he says, "before we try to speak to them with our lips." Whenever he came upon a baby born during the voyage or a dying person, Saint Claver would stop to baptize them immediately. Throughout his work, Saint Claver survived on minimal amounts of food and sleep. His life of humility and penance led to miraculous occurrences, as when he healed the sick with a touch of his cloak, or appeared surrounded by a supernatural light during his hospital visits. In the last years of his life, Saint Claver became sick with the plague and was too ill to leave his room. When he was anointed with the oil of the sacrament of the sick in 1654, Carthaginians crowded into his room to see him for the last time, treating it as a shrine. He died on September 8, 1654, after having baptized and taught the faith to more than 300,000 slave persons during his 4 decades in Cartagena. He was beatified by Pius IX on July 16, 1850, and canonized along with his friend, Saint Alfonso Rodriguez, on January 15, 1888, by Pope Leo XIII. What does the commandment "keep holy the Sabbath" require? The religious leaders confronted Jesus on this issue. The Sabbath rest was meant to be a time to remember and to celebrate God's goodness and the goodness of His work, both in creation and redemption. It was a day set apart for the praise of God, His work of creation, and His saving actions on our behalf. It was intended to bring everyday work to a halt and to provide needed rest and refreshment. Jesus' disciples were scolded by the scribes and Pharisees, not for plucking and eating corn from the fields, but for doing so on the Sabbath. In defending his disciples, Jesus used the scriptures to argue that human need has precedence over ritual custom, specifically citing the instance when in their hunger, David and his men ate the holy bread offered in the temple. Jesus also quoted the Sabbath work involved in worship in the temple. This kind of work was usually doable, the work of worship of victims. Honoring the Sabbath not only means refraining from work so we can focus on worshiping the Lord. Also means honoring our Lord with the way we treat our neighbor. It is pharisaical to profess our love for the Lord because it is the Sabbath, but at the same time withhold care and concern for our neighbor. Do we honor the Lord in the way we treat our neighbor and celebrate the Lord's Day? Let us pray. In the name of the Father, Son, Spirit, Amen. Lord, may we honor you in our work and in our rest, and treat our neighbor with respect and kindness. Keep us free from a critical and intolerant spirit, that we may seek the good of our neighbor in all situations. Jesus, trust you. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Spirit, Amen. God bless your families, brothers and sisters. God bless our Catholic Church and couples for Christ.